Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me for this sweet shoulder release session. You will need a few props for this session. A block or a blanket, or something that you can use instead of a block, maybe a pile of books with a blanket over the top to soften, and also a belt. So when you're ready with your props, so this first one we're going to start off lying onto our back. So if you've got a block, then we'll use the block. Otherwise, if you've got a blanket, roll it up into kind of long sausage shape. You ideally kind of want the blanket to be quite firm, quite solid, and then lay the blanket across the mat, and we're aiming to try and rest the blanket underneath the tips of the shoulder blades, and then rest the arms out into cactus arms. Same thing with the block. Slide the block so the top edge of the block is just underneath the shoulder blades. Wriggle around until you find a comfortable position, and then resting the backs of the shoulders down onto the mat. So with the legs, if you're comfortable in this Baddha Konasana shape, bring the soles of the feet together, let the knees gently drop out to the sides. If that's not comfortable, you can always try and support the knees with blocks or blankets, or straighten the legs out. And the arms are in this cactus shape with the elbows slightly lower than the shoulders. Roll your shoulders back, palms facing up towards the ceiling, and close your eyes. And start to take long, deep breaths. With each inhale, feel the chest rise and expand. And with the exhale, feel the backs of the shoulders, backs of the arms, backs of the hands sinking down into the earth. And with your inhale, breathe into any areas that feel tight, that feel tense. Feel as though the breath creates space. The breath expands the body, allowing the tension to release and flow away with your exhale. Each exhale, let go a little bit more. Just taking a moment to check in, to notice how you're feeling. Sweep your awareness around your body. Notice any areas of tightness, tension, gripping. Let that go, let the body soften and release. Notice the little movements in the belly. As you inhale, feel the belly lift and spread. As you exhale, feel the belly fall back to the spine. Notice the rise and fall of your chest. Feel the breath expand the ribs from side to side, from front to back, from top to bottom. See if you can notice each of those directions individually. Notice the rise and fall from front to back. And then notice the lungs filling up from top to bottom. And feel the ribs expand side to side. And then see if you can feel those different directions, all three directions, all at the same time. And then if your feet, soles of the feet together, and then start to gently straighten the legs. And then bend your knees. And just carefully roll to the side so you can take your block away. And then roll back onto your back. Coming into a twist, so stretch your arms out. Have your hands level with your shoulders, palms up towards the ceiling. Shuffle your hips over to the left. Hook your left leg over your right. Gently lower your knees over to the right. Support the legs if you need. If it's too much to have the legs crossed, then uncross, stack the knees on top. Deep breaths down into the belly. And just notice how the shoulders, the upper back feel. And each exhale, sink that left shoulder, the shoulder blade, the arm down into the earth without forcing or pushing, just let it soften. And then inhale, lift your knees up to center, go the other way, shuffle your hips over to the right, hook your right leg over your left, gently lower your knees over to the left. Just let the legs fall. No holding, no gripping. Long, deep breaths down into the belly. Just bring your awareness to your right shoulder. And again, not forcing or pushing, not wishing it were different. Just simply noticing any areas of tension, of tightness. Visualize the breath. You can imagine the breath as a wave of fluid, light, heat, colour, texture, whatever is most appealing for you. And just visualise your breath, the energy, bathe in any tightness in space. And with the exhale, soften and release, let the tension go. And then lift your knees back up to centre, unhook your leg, foot cross your shins, cross your ankles, hook your thighs, your knees into your chest, and start to gently roll up and down the spine. Just little rocks at first, gradually get a little bit higher and higher. You can always roll over to the side, use your hands to push yourself up, and then rock all the way up to sitting. And then this is where you're going to need your belt. So find a comfortable seat. You can do this cross-legged. You can pop up onto a block if you feel like you need to lift the hips, so especially if the knees are quite high or you feel like you're tilting backwards, pop yourself up onto a block. That lift of the hips are really straining the knees. Otherwise, just finding that comfortable seat. And then grabbing hold of your belt. Stretch the arms up. Take the hands wide, so you want to keep the arms straight and the belt taut. So if at any point the elbows start to bend or the belt starts to sag, then readjust your hands to keep that tightness in the belt and to keep the arms straight. So inhale, lift the arms up, and then exhale, take the belt back behind. Inhale, lift it back up. Exhale. Lower. Make sure you can still breathe. Inhale, lift. If it feels so tight and so tense that you're holding your breath, take your hands wider. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. This time we'll lower in thirds, so exhale, lower a third of the way, hold there. Maybe even pulling on the belt if that feels good. Breathe. Exhale, lower. Another third. Breathe into any areas that feel tight. Exhale, lower. Another third, all the way down. And then inhale, all the way up. Exhale, all the way down. This time we'll lift in thirds. So inhale, lift, find that first point of tension. And breathe. So sometimes when we feel that tension, we meet it with more tension by gripping and squeezing. So be conscious of the body's reactions, any clenching in the jaw or the face. And again, lift another third. Hold and breathe. Keeping the front ribs tucking in, making sure you're not overarching the back. And then inhale, lift all the way up. Exhale, all the way down. Inhale, all the way up. Keep your left arm reaching up towards the ceiling. I'm going to mirror you and drop your right arm back and down. So push up with that left hand as you gently pull back and down with the belt. You can play around with the angle of the right hand, the bottom hand, to find the point that feels tightest for you. So not the easiest stretch. You want to feel like you're flossing the shoulder blades. So gently pushing up with that top hand, pull down with the bottom, and breathe. And then lifting your right arm up, drop your left hand back and down. And again, gently pushing up with that top hand, play around with the angle of the bottom arm. And then we'll go from side to side. So lift your left arm up, pull back and down with the right. Inhale, lift the right arm up. Exhale. Inhale, left arm up, right arm down. Exhale. Inhale, right arm up, left hand down. Exhale. Inhale, left arm up, right arm down. Inhale, right arm up, left arm down. Exhale. Inhale, lift. So keep your left arm up, bend your left elbow, take your right hand onto your left elbow, gently guide the arm across. So don't worry about how close it is to the head, just guide it to a point where it feels comfortable. And spinning the tricep in towards the face, so that's an outward rotation of the arm. So as you spin your tricep in, you'll notice that that left shoulder blade slides away from the spine. So gently guide the left elbow across, keep spinning the tricep in. If the arm is behind the head, gently press the head back into the arm. Breathe. Again, breathe into the side ribs. Breathe into that space between the shoulder blades. So this might already be plenty, in which case stay here. Or you can stretch your right arm out, bend your right elbow, grip hold of the belt, or maybe you can even crawl your fingers towards each other, maybe even hooking the fingers together. Again, lift that top elbow up and back, bottom elbow down and back. And then changing sides, take your belt into your right hand, lift your right arm up, bend your right elbow, take your left hand to guide the right elbow across, just holding it here for a few breaths. And again, trying to roll the tricep in towards the face, so an outward rotation of the arm. Feel that right shoulder blade as you roll the tricep in, roll, slide away from the spine. And again, maybe gently pressing the head back into the arm if that feels good. And then you can stay here, or take your left arm out, turn your palm back, bend the elbow, gripping hold of either the belt, or maybe you can hook your fingers, squeeze the elbows back. And again, just be mindful of overarching the back or flaring the front ribs. And then release, pop your belt to the side. And then inhale, stretch the arms out in front, lift the arms up, turn the palms out, little fingers back, big circle round. Again, inhale, arms up, palms out, little fingers back, big circle round. Inhale, arms up, palms out, big circle round. And then bring the tips of the fingers, the tips of the shoulders, bring your elbows together, inhale, lift them up, and again, big circle round. Inhale, lift. Exhale, round. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, and then release the hands. Interlace your hands behind your back. Roll your shoulders back. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Tuck your chin in towards your chest. And then straighten the arms, stretch the knuckles down towards the space behind the spine. Again, tuck your front ribs in, keep gently squeezing the shoulder blades together. If it feels good, you can start to lift the hands up away from the mat, stretch the knuckles back. And then release. Inhale, stretch your arms out to the side. Exhale, wrap your left arm over your right, crawl your fingertips towards each other. See if you can maybe even hook onto your shoulder blades, and then give yourself a really big hug. So squeeze with the arms, and as you squeeze, you'll feel that space between the shoulder blades expand and spread. So squeeze and then breathe deeply. Inhale, arms back out. Exhale, wrap your right arm over your left. Again, crawl your fingertips towards the shoulder blades, maybe even hooking the fingertips onto the shoulder blades. Squeeze, big hug, feel that space between the shoulders spread. Inhale, arms out. And then exhale, take your left arm across the chest, hook your right arm underneath. So hook your elbow around the arm, and then gently bring the right hand in towards the face, which will give you a nice stretch along the outer left shoulder. And then release, inhale, arms out. Changing sides, take your right arm across the body, hook your left arm underneath, gently squeeze the arm in, squeeze the hand towards the face, so you're bringing the arm across the chest to find that nice stretch around your right shoulder. And then release, inhale, arms out. Interlace your hands behind your back, and then bring your hands over towards your left hip, and then squeeze your shoulder blades, your elbows towards each other. So notice if the shoulders, the upper back start to round up towards the ears, keep the shoulders rolling back and down, but try not to overarch the back. So you're rolling the shoulders down, but keeping the front bottom ribs dropping down towards the pelvis. And that'll keep the stretch up in the shoulders. So gently squeeze your palms, your elbows towards each other. And then release, change sides. Take the hands over towards the right side of the waist. Roll your shoulders back and down. Tuck your front ribs in, and then squeeze your elbows, your shoulder blades together. And then release. Inhale, take the arms out. And then exhale again, cross the left arm over the right. This time we're going to come into eagle arms. So if you know eagle arms aren't good for you, come back into that hugging action. So crawl your fingertips towards your shoulder blades and squeeze. Otherwise, with the left arm over the right, bend the elbows. So you're either bringing the tops of the hands together. You want to keep the wrists neutral and straight rather than being bent. So fingertips either stay pointing up towards the sky, or you may even be able to wrap your right fingers towards your left palm. Drop your shoulders down, keep the shoulders down as you lift your elbows up, and then gently press your forearms away from the face. Breathe. Again, finding that space between the shoulder blades, creating that sense of expansion with the inhale. Yeah, exhale, let go of any gripping, squeezing, tensing. And inhale, lift the elbows up slightly. Exhale, curl the elbows forwards in towards the belly button. Feel as though you're pressing your forearms down towards the mat. Inhale, lift the arms up, turn the palms out, big circle round. And then change sides, wrap your right arm over your left. Again, you can come back into the hugging variation, or tops of the hands together, or wrap your left fingers to your right palm. Drop the shoulders down, keep your shoulders down as you lift your elbows up. If you want to intensify, gently take your forearms away from the face. Breathe into that space between the shoulder blades. And then lift your elbows up, inhale. Exhale, curling forwards, take your elbows down towards your belly button. Breathe into the space between the shoulder blades. Inhale, lift the arms up, turn the palms out. Big circle round. And then come forwards onto your hands and knees. Cat-cow, so stack your shoulders over your wrists, stack your hips over your knees, slide your shoulders back away from the ears. Inhale, lift the tailbone, drop the belly, draw your chest forwards. Exhale, tuck the tailbone round, relax your head, relax your neck. Inhale, drop the belly, shoulders back. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. Come back to neutral. Keep your left hand underneath your left shoulder. Inhale, lift your right arm up, spin the shoulder out, lean back slightly. Exhale, sweep the right hand into the gap between your left hand and your left knee. We're going to go back up again. Inhale, lift the right arm up. Exhale, sweep it through. Inhale, lift the right arm up. Exhale, sweep it through and hold. So come down onto the right side of the face. You can always use a block if you can't easily reach. And then come up onto your left fingertips. Roll the left shoulder back. Gently press to roll the chest open. Try not to roll towards the back of the head. Stay resting on the side of the face. And breathe. So keep gently pressing into that left hand to roll the left ribs up and back. And then if you want to take it a stage further, lift the left arm up, turn the palm back, wrap the arm around the back, tuck your left fingers towards your imaginary right pocket. And breathe. And then release, pressing yourself up to change side, bringing your right hand underneath your right shoulder. Inhale, lift the left arm up. Exhale, sweep it into the gap. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, sweep it through. One more. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, sweep it through and hold. Come down onto the left side of the face. Come up onto your right fingertips. Roll the right shoulder back. Press into your fingers, leaning back slightly. Again, reposition the head to make sure you're staying on the side of the face. Make sure there's no tension in the neck. Support the head with a cushion or a block if you need. And you can stay here or lift the right arm up, turn the palm back, wrap the arm around the back, tuck your right fingers towards your imaginary left pocket. And then release, press into your hands, lift yourself up. So keep your hips stacked over your knees, but start to warp your hands forwards. Keeping the hands wide, so little fingers to the edges of the mat. Spin the shoulders out away from the ears and gently melt your chest down towards the mat. Keep your front ribs tucking up towards the spine, so you're bringing the stretch around the shoulder blades rather than the lower back. Lengthen your tailbone back. Doesn't matter how close towards the mat you get, just find that really sweet release in the shoulders. And then slide forwards onto your belly. So take your fingertips wide, take them off the mat in line with the shoulders, and then come up onto the fingertips as if you've got a tennis ball underneath the palm. So you've got little spider hands. Separate your feet hip distance, press into the tops of the feet, lift the kneecaps, press the pubic bone down, roll your shoulders back. Inhale, just a little lift of the chest at first. Exhale, roll back down, roll the shoulders back. Inhale, lift maybe a little bit higher, drop the elbows back. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift, just lift to a point that feels good for you. If you can lift so far that you can drop your elbows back and then scoop them under and forwards, that'll help to slide the shoulder blades down away from the ears. Let's do that a couple more times. Exhale, roll down. Shoulders back, inhale, lift, scoop the elbows under and forwards. Keep the legs strong. Exhale, roll back down. One more, shoulders back, scoop your elbows under and forwards. Lift the chest, legs strong. Feel as though you're trying to lift the breastbone forwards and up towards the ceiling. Breathe. Exhale, rolling back down. And now extend your left arm out to the side. So have your left palm roughly in line with your left shoulder and then turn onto the left side of the face. Press into your right hand, roll onto your left side and then shuffle your hips away from your left arm. So you're creating space in your left shoulder socket. So this might be plenty, just keeping the legs stacked as they are. Otherwise, if you want to go a stage further, you can bend your right knee and step your right foot behind the left. If you want to go further again, you can try bending your left knee as well, so both knees pointing up towards the ceiling. Again, make sure the head feels comfortable. Any strain in the neck, then support the head on a block or a cushion. And breathe. So this can feel really intense, so don't force. We're never looking for the most extreme stretch. We always want to find the edge, the place where we feel the stretch, but we can still breathe, smooth, soft breath. So if you notice that you're holding your breath or you're clenching your teeth and you can't easily relax the face, then it's probably an indication that maybe you've just gone a little bit too far. So just ease back till you find that really nice, comfortable, sweet release. And then roll back onto your belly. Changing sides. So stretch your right arm out, have your right hand in line with the shoulder, turn onto the right side of the face. Use your left hand to roll onto your right side and then shuffle your hips away from the right arm. So you're making a little bit of space in the shoulder socket. And again, you can stay here or you can bend your left knee, step your left foot behind the right. This may be plenty, or if you're going a stage further again, bend in both knees. One side will probably feel tighter than the other. Don't worry. We often have a dominant side, and especially with things like the arms and the shoulders, it can sometimes be quite obvious. It might even be to do with which side you hold bags on, which arm you do things with dominantly. So just be mindful, not forcing or pushing. Breathe. And then roll back onto your belly. Shuffle yourself back towards the middle of the mat. And then this time, I'm going to cross the arms in front. So take your right arm over to the left, still with the palm down, fingertips in line with the shoulder, and then cross the left arm in front. So we want to try and cross at equal points on the arm, so it doesn't feel like you're rolling over to one side or the other. See if you can get that sense of having the shoulders equal, and then drop your chin down towards your arms and relax. So let the gravity, the weight of the head, the body, stretch out the backs of the arms. Breathe. And then release. Change inside. So take your left arm over to the right, left fingertips in line with the shoulder, cross your right arm in front. And again, cross at that equal point. Let your chin drop down on towards your arms. And breathe. And breathe into the upper back. Breathe into the side ribs. Breathe into the tightness. Breath by breath, letting it go. And then slowly release. Press into your hands, push yourself back into child's pose. Sink your bum down towards your heels. Rest your forehead down onto the mat. And then lift your chest, crawl your hands over to the right. So lift the chest to turn the rib cage towards the right inner thigh, and then crawl the left fingertips away, even maybe coming up onto your left fingertips. And then release, walk the hands back over to the left, lift your chest, turn your ribs towards your left inner thigh, crawl your right fingertips away, get maybe coming up onto your right fingers. Sink the right sit bone down. And then coming back through centre. So this is where you'll need your block or your pile of books. So take your block forwards, lift your hips so they're stacked over your knees, and then stretch the arm, the hand as far forward as you can. So it feels like you're reaching for the block, but without letting the hips move. Come up onto your left fingertips and then gently melt your chest down towards the mat. So you can go as high as you need. So if you're quite flexible in the chest, the armpits, you might need to take the blocks a little bit higher. And then release, change sides. So slide your block over to the left. Again, feel as though you're reaching for the block. So there's a good stretch without letting the hips move in front of the knees. And then come up onto your right fingertips, bend your right elbow, gently melt your chest down towards the mat. You don't even need to do this with a block. If you've got a kind of low couch or a coffee table, you'll get a similar effect. It doesn't matter how close your chest gets towards the floor. And then release, pop your blocks to the side, tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Spraying your fingers, spin the shoulders out away from the ears, pedal the legs. And then rock forwards into a plank. Bend your knees, hover your shins, your knees up just above the mat, and then move your chest back to your thighs, your bum to your heels. Spin your shoulders out away from the ears, and then keep pushing into the hands as you lift your hips up and back. Let's do that again, rock forwards into a plank. Bend the knees, hover. Press your chest back to your thighs, bum to your heels, spin the shoulders out, lift your hips up and back. Downward dog. Look at the space between your hands, step your right foot to your right thumb. Drop your left knee down, inhale. Lift the arms up. Exhale, bend the elbows, just lower than the shoulders, roll the shoulders back. Inhale, lift the chest up towards the ceiling, squeeze the elbows down and in, so feel as though the breastbone is lifting up. Exhale, round, squeeze your forearms together, tuck your chin towards your chest. Inhale, open. Exhale, round. Inhale, open. Exhale, round. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, down. Step back into a plank. Bend your knees, hover your shins, your knees. Move your chest back to your thighs, bum to your heels, spin the shoulders out, lift your hips up and back. Look at the space between your hands, step your left foot to your left thumb, drop your right knee down. Inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, bend the elbows, again just slightly lower than the shoulders, roll the shoulders back. As you inhale, lift the breastbone up towards the ceiling, squeeze the elbows down and in. Exhale, round, squeeze your forearms, your elbows together, round the upper back. Inhale, open. Exhale, round. Inhale, open. Exhale, take your hands down, step straight back into downward facing dog. Bend your knees, press your chest back towards your thighs, spin your shoulders out, and then slowly start to straighten the legs. Don't force them straight if they're not ready to go. Look at the space between your hands. Step your right foot to your right thumb. Drop your left knee down. Inhale, lift the arms up. And then cross your left arm over your right. So again, you can come back into that hugging action, or you can bring the tops of the hands together, or you can wrap your right fingers to your left palm. Drop your shoulders down away from the ears. Tuck your front ribs in and breathe. And then take your elbows towards the right. Coming back to center, inhale, lift the arms up, big circle round. Take your hands down, step back into plank. Bend your knees, hover your shins, your knees a few inches away from the mat. Move your chest back to your thighs, bum to your heels, spin the shoulders out, lift your hips up and back. We'll look at the space between your hands, step your left foot to your left thumb, drop your right knee down, inhale, lift the arms up. Wrap your right arm over your left, bringing the tops of the hands together, or left fingers to right palm. Drop your shoulders down, lift your elbows up. Again, you can come back into that hugging modification. And then take your elbows over to the left. Coming back to center, lift the arms up, big circle round. Take your hands down, step straight back into downward facing dog. Look at the space between your hands. Step your right foot to your right thumb. Drop your left knee down. Inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, interlace your hands, roll your shoulders back, squeeze your shoulder blades together, tuck your chin in, stretch the knuckles down towards the back of the left knee. And then release, take your left hand down underneath your left shoulder to the inside of your right foot. Tuck your left toes, lift your left knee, or you can leave the left knee down. Lift the right arm up towards the ceiling. Reach up tall. So notice if the shoulders have rounded in towards the ears, spin the shoulders out, lean back. You may even want to take your right arm back and over if that feels good. Make sure there's no pinching there in your lower back. Keep the tailbone tucked. And then release. Now take your left hand out a diagonal and your right foot off at a diagonal. Have your right toes pointing towards kind of 1, 2 o'clock. Keep your left knee down. Take your right hand behind your head. Lift the elbow up and back and then lean back. Again, feel as though the chest is lifting up towards the ceiling. Keep the tailbone tucked. And then release, bring your hand down, shuffle your foot across, step back into a plank, bend your knees, hover your shins, press your chest back to your thighs, bum to your heels, spin the shoulders out, lift your hips up and back. Look at the space between your hands, step your left foot to your left thumb, drop your right knee down, inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, interlace the hands, roll your shoulders back. Squeeze your shoulder blades, your elbows towards each other, drop the chin down towards the chest, stretch the knuckles down towards the back of the right knee. Release, bring your right hand down to the inside of your left foot, right hand underneath your right shoulder. Tuck your right toes, lift your right knee, sweep the left arm back and up, spin the shoulders out, lean back. So imagine you're trying to get the inner creases of the elbows to point towards the front of the mat. And then release. So shuffle your left foot off the mat. So turn the left toes towards 10, 11 o'clock. Take your right hand off to the right side of the mat. Take your left hand behind your head. Squeeze the elbow back. Press the head back into the hand. Breathe. And then release. Step back into downward facing dog. And then drop your knees down, drop your forearms down, wrap your fingertips around your upper arms so your elbows stay underneath your shoulders, interlace your hands, press the upper arms, the shoulders down away from the ears, pressing the upper arms back towards the knees, tuck your toes, lift your hips, coming into dolphin. Don't worry about straightening the legs, you can keep the knees bent, but press the upper arms back towards the shins. Feel as though you're moving your chest back towards your legs. If you want to challenge yourself a little bit more, start to try and straighten the legs, maybe even walk your feet in towards your elbows, but keep pressing your chest back towards your legs. And then drop down onto your knees, sink your bum down to your heels, stretch the arms forwards. And then lifting up, come down to sitting onto your bum. Take your fingertips back behind, fingertips pointing in towards the bum. Roll the shoulders back, squeeze your elbows, your shoulder blades towards each other, and lift the chest up towards the ceiling. And then maybe see if you can move your bum a little bit further away from your fingertips. Again, roll the shoulders back, lift the chest up. And then maybe shuffling the bum, maybe even shuffling the feet a little bit further forwards away from the hands. Roll the shoulders back, lift the chest. And then inhale, lift your bum, lift the hips up towards the ceiling. Exhale, swing it back down towards the hands. Inhale, lift it up and forwards. Exhale, drop it down one more. Inhale, lift, roll the shoulders back, press into the hands, breathe. Exhale, drop the bum down, and then slowly ease down onto your back. So press into bring your feet hip distance, bring your heels in towards your bum. Maybe just gripping hold of the mat. Press into your feet, lift your hips up towards the ceiling. Rock from side to side, try and spin your upper arms out. So inner elbows spin to face up towards the ceiling. And imagine you're trying to rip the mat in half. You can stay here or bend your elbows, walk the heels of the hands underneath the hips, or interlace your hands. And try and walk the shoulder blades down, walk the knuckles towards the heels, gently squeezing your thighs together or towards each other. The knees stay stacked over the ankles. And then if your hands are interlaced, I quite like to drop the sit bones, the tailbone, towards the hands. Keep the tailbone tucked, making sure you're not pinching the lower back. You might not get all the way. And then lift your hips, release. And then shoulder stand. So if you don't fancy shoulder stand today, you can just lie and rest, or you can even find a wall and take your legs up the wall for Viparita Karani. Or if you're going for your shoulder stand, then lying down onto your back, bringing your hands either side of your hips. Use a little bit of push, a little bit of momentum to roll up the spine, bring the hands onto the hips. Don't move the head once you're up, and keep the hands supporting the back as you rock from side to side. Try and walk your elbows, your upper arms in towards each other. If your hamstrings allow, you may even be able to drop your feet down into plough, in which case you can, if your toes are touching down, you can interlace the hands. Again, rock from side to side, trying to get your shoulder blades a little bit closer together. And then before you lift the legs, bring the hands back up onto the back. Slowly lift the legs. Semi-pointing the feet, so balls the feet slightly higher than the heels, but you want your insteps on the outer edges of the feet roughly the same height. Notice if you've got this kind of V shape as much as you can. Move the pelvis towards the face, move the heels away from the face. Breathe. And then exhale, take your feet overhead. Again, if your toes touch down, interlace your hands. Otherwise, just keep your hands on your back. Halasana, plough. If your hands are interlaced, press the little finger edge of the hand, the wrist down towards the mat. And then bend your knees, drop your thighs, your knees in towards your chest. And then release your hands one by one, slowly roll down each vertebra, keeping your head and neck soft. And then drop your feet down, let your knees rest in towards each other. Rest your hands onto your belly, or you can take one hand onto the heart, one hand onto the belly. Taking these few moments. Again, tune into the body, the breath. Taking a moment to notice how you're feeling. Breathing deeply into the belly, into the chest. Notice the little movements of the hands as they rise and fall. And then we're going to inhale over 3 breaths. And we'll exhale, let it go. So exhale, empty the lungs. Inhale, pause. Inhale, pause. Inhale all the way up to the crown of the head. Pause. Exhale, let it go. Again, inhale, pause, inhale, pause, inhale, fill the whole body with breath, pause at the top of the inhale, feeling that expansion that we just released all of that space. Exhale, let it go. Let's do one more, inhale, pause, inhale, pause, inhale all the way up to the crown of the head, pause, again enjoying that sense of space and release within the chest, the upper back. Exhale. And just let the body soften and sink. Completely let go. Let go of any residual tightness, tension. And slowly start to move fingers, toes, hands, feet, stretch the arms, the legs away, give the body a really nice long stretch. And then release. Roll over onto your side, just stay on your side, rest your head onto your arm, take a few more long deep breaths. And then press into your hands, slowly lift it back up. Just taking a moment to notice how you're feeling. Notice if it feels like you can take deeper breaths into the chest, into the upper back. Doing a lot of work to release tension from around the shoulders. So enjoy that new space. Welcome all of that new energy into that space where you've released tension. Bring your hands together into prayer. Bow the head. Sealing that sense of energy. Take away with you a feeling of calm, relaxation, peace. Bow forwards, take your hands to the earth to give thanks. And lift them back up. Namaste.